Hey boys and girls, it's Miss Mary from Decatur Public Library, and we're going to have a story time today called Be Nice to Your Neighbors. We're going to read some very funny books that are based on fairy tales, but with a different ending in both cases. I want to tell you about a craft we're going to have here at the library for you to pick up this week, as long as there are still packets of it. One of our stories is about someone who uses tools in a house. So you're going to make your own toolbox. You can even do what I did and take a little piece of paper and write whose tools those are. We'll have those for several days around this time, so come by and get one. All right, our first book we're going to read is The Boy Who Cried Wolf by B.G. Hennessy, and it's illustrated by Boris Kulikoff. Now, boys and girls, this book is published by Simon & Schuster, and they have given us permission to read this. And after a bit, we're going to read a really funny book called Goldilocks Returns by Lisa Campbell Ernst. It is so funny. I think you're going to like it. It's also published by Simon & Schuster, and we're so grateful they're letting us read these books. This book has such a cute ending, boys and girls. This is a shepherd boy who looks after his sheep on the hill near a little village, and he gets very bored. He probably wants to take a nap. You know how it feels when you don't have anything to play with, don't you? The Boy Who Cried Wolf. There was once a shepherd. I am so bored, he thought. All day long, all I do is watch sheep. All the sheep do is eat. Not only that, all they say is baa. Munch, munch, munch. Bah, answered the sheep. He sure didn't have a TV out there in the field, did he? Nothing ever happens here. None of my friends come to play. I am the most bored boy in the world, thought the shepherd. Munch, munch, munch. Bah, answered the sheep. I wonder if sheep ever get bored, he thought. He decided to teach the sheep some tricks. Now, you might teach your dog some tricks, but I doubt you'll ever try to teach sheep any tricks. How about you? He's trying to play a game with them, but look what he did. He blindfolded himself and almost fell off the cliff. He expected the sheep would be happy to learn something new, but none of them seemed interested. Munch, munch, munch. Bah, the sheep protested. What I need is a little excitement, said the shepherd. Well, what would be exciting? I know, he said. The shepherd boy jumped up from under his tree in the pasture and ran all the way into town, yelling, Wolf! 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 There's a wolf after my sheep. And the sheep are just standing there eating the grass. They aren't worried at all. There's not a wolf around. All of the townsfolk came running as fast as they could to help the shepherd boy protect his sheep. They looked everywhere for the wolf. No wolf in the pasture. No wolf on the hill. No wolf in the forest. One of the shepherd boy's friends stayed with him for the rest of the day to make sure the wolf was really gone. That was a fun afternoon, thought the shepherd boy. He had some excitement, didn't he? But the next day, munch, munch, munch. Bah! Life in the pasture was back to boring again. So the shepherd boy jumped up from under his tree in the pasture and ran into town, this time yelling, Wolves! 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 There are 2 wolves after my sheep! And the sheep are all safe and sound under a tree eating grass. And just like the day before, everyone came running lickety-split to help the shepherd boy protect his sheep. And just like the day before, they looked everywhere for the wolves. No wolves in the pasture. No wolves on the hill. No wolves in the forest. They must have run away, the shepherd explained. One of the boy's friends stayed with him for the rest of the day, this time to see if there really was a wolf. People are starting to wonder if he's telling them a lie. That was another fine afternoon, thought the shepherd boy after his friend had left. The next day, just when the shepherd boy was beginning to get bored again, he heard lunch, 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 grrr, and lunch, 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 grrr, and lunch, 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 grrr. That does not sound like what the sheep say, does it? And there, by the edge of the pasture, were 3 big hungry wolves. The sheep started running in all directions, and for the 3rd time, the shepherd jumped up from under his tree in the pasture and ran into the town, this time yelling, "Wolves, wolves, wolves! There are 3 wolves after my sheep!" Do you think anybody's going to believe that little lying boy anymore? I don't think so. He didn't learn his lesson, did he? But this time, no one came to help. This time, no one believed him. And the shepherd boy spent the rest of the day looking for his sheep all by himself. He's still bored. And now he doesn't have any sheep, does he? Now watch the last page. He still doesn't know where they are. But the sheep, they're all up in the tree. They've actually shaken the tree so much because they're so afraid of the wolf that all the leaves fell on the ground. That is a funny ending. And I hope he learned his lesson to always tell the truth. If you want someone to play with you, just tell them. Just ask them if they'll play. All right, now he was very bored, and sometimes when we don't have anything to do, we may get sleepy and we just want to take a nap. We also feel that way in the mornings when we don't want to get out of bed, don't we? So we're going to sing the song that we sing in story time a lot, I Wake Up My Hands. This is from jbrary.com. They have so many great songs for kids. And I hope you remember this song once we start it. We're going to wake up our hands. We're going to wake up our feet. We're going to wake up our head, our eyes, and even our bellies. We have to get awake in the morning so we can eat breakfast, don't we? Are you ready? I wake up my hands with a clap, 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 a clap, 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 a clap, clap, clap. I wake up my hands with a clap, 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 and I waggle my wiggles away. I wake up my feet with a stomp, stomp, stomp. A stomp, 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 a stomp, stomp, stomp. I wake up my feet with a stomp, 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 and I waggle my wiggles away. I wake up my head with a nod, 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 a nod, 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 a nod, nod, nod. I wake up my head with a nod, 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 and I waggle my wiggles away. I wake up my eyes with a blink, 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 a blink, blink, blink. A blink, 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 I wake up my eyes with a blink, 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 and I waggle my wiggles away. I wake up my belly with a beep, 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 a beep, 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 a beep, beep, beep. I wake up my belly with a beep, 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 and I waggle my wiggles away. All right, now here comes the very funny story. Goldilocks returns. And in this story, you're going to see what a pest Goldilocks really can be. I love fairy tales that are told in a silly new way. They're so fun. Goldilocks is not a little girl anymore, is she? Goldilocks returns, and you can see her tools here. As a child, she was known as Goldilocks, and she was very naughty indeed. Her favorite hobby was snooping in houses where no one was at home, until, of course, all that dreadful trouble with the bears. Then Goldilocks grew up, and the older she got, the worse she felt about her horrid behavior. She shortened her name and pinned up her curls so no one would recognize her. She's embarrassed because she acted bad when she was little. Goldie opened a shop to help people protect themselves against snoops, just like her, right? But no matter how she tried to leave her life of crime behind, it haunted her day and night. Goldie had nightmares about bears. She cried at the mere sight of a teddy bear. Her customers even began to look like bears. I can't take it any longer, she sobbed at last. It's time I set things right. Early one morning, Goldie loaded up her truck, turned her shop sign to closed, and zoomed off toward the deep, dark woods. She's got a truck that says Goldie's Locks and Keys. At that very moment, the 3 bears, whom she had scared out of their wits year before, were sitting down to breakfast. They were Papa Bear, Mama Bear, and their son, who, though not a baby anymore for some 50 years now, still went by the name Baby Bear. Due to the fright brought on by Goldilocks, he still had a wee little voice. Their breakfast, as usual, was porridge, and as it had been every day since any of them could remember, it was much too hot to eat. "Grab your hats," Papa Bear sighed, and the three unsuspecting bears left for their daily walk. Oh, bless their hearts, they're about to have a new nightmare brought on by Goldilocks. No sooner had the bears left than Goldie screeched to a stop in front of their cozy cottage. "It hasn't changed a bit," she gasped. Strapping her tool belt on, Goldie walked to the door and knocked. A smile crept across her face as she realized the bears, again, were not at home. Goldie walked right in. "I'll fix that," she said, chuckling. With a drill in one hand and a screwdriver in the other, Goldie swung into action. Moments later, the bear's door was laden with the finest in locking hardware, padlock, double bolt, and the secret anti-snoop lock she had used in only the most serious cases. "Won't they be delighted?" she crooned. Next, Goldie headed for the kitchen. There sat the 3 bowls of porridge. "Ish," she said. "It's that same goop as before." Goldie emptied the bowls in the sink. "They won't have to eat this nasty tasting stuff anymore," and she set out her special fat-free rutabaga breakfast bars and cans of tart and tasty celery juice. Goldie stocked the cabinets with enough breakfast bars and celery juice to last for months. While she was at it, she threw away any food she thought was unhealthy or didn't like herself. "Now, to spruce this place up a little," Goldie announced, pulling out 3 bolts of pom-pom fringe and her staple gun. The results were stunning. "She's still nosy, isn't she? Do you think we want someone coming to our house and throwing away all the food we like and putting food they like in our place? No." Feeling better already, Goldie burst into the living room. She cried when she saw what Baby Bear had made from the pieces of his broken chair. He made a rocking horse. Nothing a little hot glue can't fix. She whipped out her glue gun, and in no time the rocking horse was a chair again. "Good as new," Goldie said. "No, better. Now to fix those other ghastly chairs." Even after all these years, Goldie still judged Mama Bear's chair too soft, Papa Bear's too hard. The stuffing was quickly moved from one chair to the other. Goldie hung hoity-toity drapes, scattered pillows, and covered all the furniture with shiny plastic covers. "Perfect at last," she declared. Goldie raced up the stairs to the 3 bears' bedroom. "She said, testing the beds of Papa Bear and Mama Bear, just as I remembered, too hard, too soft. And before you could say Rip Van Winkle, she had adjusted the stuffings to her finicky liking." Goldie sprayed Ravishing Rose's perfume in the air and tied bouquets of plastic flowers around the room for a back-to-nature look. That sounds awful, doesn't it? Ugh. "It's glorious," Goldie sang, falling back on Baby Bear's bed to admire the room. "The bears will be so grateful." Suddenly, Goldie was exhausted, and once again, Baby Bear's bed was just right. Before she knew it, Goldie had drifted off to bed to her most peaceful sleep in 50 years. The bears, meanwhile, were finally returning home from their walk. Seeing the truck, they began to worry. They hadn't had much luck with visits in the past. "What on?" Papa Bear said, noticing the locks on the door. Then he heard Baby Bear squealing in the kitchen. "Oh no, oh my," he cried in his wee little voice. "Look, look." With jaws dropping and eyes popping, the 2 older bears did just that. Papa Bear snarled at the side of the table and bellowed in his big, deep voice, "Someone has taken my porridge." Mama Bear nodded. "Someone has taken my porridge," she said in her medium-sized voice. And Baby Bear, discovering the mess in the sink, cried in his wee little voice, "Someone has taken my porridge and they've thrown it all away." Memory told the bears to race to the living room. It was a shocking sight. Papa Bear's knees buckled, and he fell into his new poofy chair. "Someone," he growled, bristling, "has been fooling with my chair." Mama Bear tried hers and gasped, hard as a rock. Someone has been fooling with my chair. Ah! Baby Bear screeched, stomping up and down. Someone has been fooling with my chair and they put it back together. All three bears ran helter-skelter up the stairs. Pete, you, Baby Bear gagged. What's that smell? Ravishing roses, Mama Bear read, picking up the empty bottle from the floor. The two older bears did not even check their beds. They knew where to look. What they saw made their fur stand on end. Baby Bear began to tremble. She's back, he wailed, hoping it was all just a nightmare. Someone's been sleeping in my bed and here she is again. And at that moment, Goldie's eyes popped open. You're home, Goldie shouted, crushing each bear with a hug and kissing their furry cheeks. The shocked bears opened their mouths to protest, but Goldie raced on. Now, don't thank me. I know you're terribly grateful, but after all, I was the one who caused the trouble to begin with. Of course, I've more than made up for that. Goldie gleefully danced through the house, pointing out her deeds. Naturally, I fixed that silly old chair, she said, and got rid of that nasty porridge. The rutabaga breakfast bars are fat-free, so you might even be able to lose that extra weight there. She chuckled, tapping Papa Bear on the stomach. A growl began to grow in Papa Bear's throat, but before he could get it out, Goldie tossed him the keys to her fancy locks, hugged them all, climbed in her truck, and was off. Wait, come back, yelled the bears, but it did no good. As her truck rounded a curve in the road, the bears saw a flash of gold. Goldie, smiling, unpinned her curls and shook them out in the breeze. The dazed bears slowly turned back to their cottage. They moved awkwardly about their fancy schmancy house. They couldn't eat, couldn't get comfortable in their chairs, and so finally went to bed. No one slept a wink. The next morning, the three exhausted bears sat at the kitchen table miserably staring at their rutabaga breakfast bars and celery juice. Maybe we should go for a walk, Mama Bear suggested, and they all ran for their hats. The three bears set off through the woods, relieved to be out of their house. But just then, Baby Bear spied something through the trees. It was a very mischievous-looking little girl skipping along the path that led straight to their cottage. Oh no, he panicked. Not this again. We didn't lock the door. Quick, stop her. She might eat our food. She might mess up the fancy things. She might break my chair. The bears began to run after the girl, but then they suddenly stopped. Eat the food? Asked Mama Bear. Mess up the fancy things? Asked Papa Bear. Break my chair? Repeated Baby Bear. Very slowly they all smiled. And then, turning around, the bears happily continued on their walk. They would actually like it if this little girl messes up their house because they don't like the way Goldie fixed it, do they? So, I see something important here. Goldilocks meant to be nice to her neighbors, but she was being nosy again and trying to make them do the things she liked. So, we can learn some lessons from our funny books today. We don't need to tell lies to our friends and neighbors, and we don't need to get into our neighbor's business, do we? All right, Goldilocks was good with tools at least. So we're going to sing a song also from Jay Brary called This Is the Way We Pound the Nails. This should be easy because it's to the tune of This Is the Way We Brush Our Teeth. This is the way we... There are so many songs to that tune, right? Are you ready? This is the way we pound the nails, pound the nails, pound the nails. This is the way we pound the nails so early in the morning. This is the way we stack the bricks, stack the bricks, stack the bricks. This is the way we stack the bricks so early in the morning. This is the way we stir the paint, stir the paint, stir the paint. This is the way we stir the paint so early in the morning. This is the way we paint the wall, paint the wall, paint the wall. This is the way we paint the wall so early in the morning. And if you have tools, I hope you use them to do your own business, not somebody else's. You all have a good afternoon and come see us at the library.